have another talk here at Wagon. We have the pleasure to receive Gabriel Gaspar. Mm-hmm. He's the CEO and founder of Nibo, which is one of the most brilliant startups. They're like a SaaS for finance and customer relationship management. Did I get it right?
It's basically finances for SMBs.
Finances for SMBs.
Yeah.
Okay. But you have some customers outside of SMBs, right? Or not?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Okay. So tell us, what is Nibo then?
So Nibo is basically a solution that helps SMB owners manage their finances.
Okay.
We basically help them have a good view on what's happening through the finances of their company, but also to interact with their accountants. You know, the accounting legislation in Brazil is very complex, and we basically help them go through the bureaucracy and through the procedures that are mandatory in Brazil. Okay. So we basically help the SMB owner manage his finances, and we integrate him with his accountant, basically.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was asking the question because I read somewhere that you had like big companies like Arezzo and
we have some clients that are the stores of Arezzo.
Oh, okay.
It's not the big factory, but
now I see
the retail guy, the small retail guy, basically.
And how did you how was the process, in finding this the problem or trying to solve? So how is that? What is your background?
So I basically graduated in economics here in Rio. I graduated in IBMEC. It's a university that is really focused in financial markets. So I started my career doing equity analysis in investment bank. Then I moved to McKinsey doing consulting. And after that, I basically decided to get my hands dirty and manage companies. So I specialized a little bit in turnarounds, in recovering companies that were going bankrupt, basically. And after leaving McKinsey, I became the CFO of 2-3 companies that were going bankrupt. So basically, the problem that we solve is a problem that I saw very closely when I was working in these companies. It was really hard to find a software that was easy to use, on the cloud, and accessible. Easy to train the team and so on. So I was always using Excel spreadsheets. And at some point, I decided to leave the corporate space to create my own solution. That's basically how it started.
So you come from a corporate background, and this is your first time as an entrepreneur?
It's not the first one. A few years ago, I decided to, I have always been a corporate guy who wanted to have his own company. So at some point in the past, I created a furniture brand with a friend who is a very well-known Brazilian designer. And I created a furniture brand with him. Okay. It ended up not growing very fast, so he ended up taking care of the business, and I moved to do something else. Okay. But this is my second startup, my second company, basically.
So you saw an opportunity, and then you team up with someone else?
In Nibo, you mean?
Yeah, in Nibo.
Yeah, in Nibo, basically Nibo started, it was basically myself and a really good friend, a girl who worked in California with online marketing for 10 years. And she came to Brazil to structure the marketing department of one of the fastest growing startups at the time called Peixe Urbano here in Rio. She joined the team when the team was a 25 people company, and she left when it became a 1,000 people company. She didn't feel the startup vibe anymore, so she wanted to do something else. I basically wanted to do Nibo. She wanted to do e-commerce startup that was going to sell jewelry for women. And we were basically helping each other. And we basically said, listen, let's work on the 2 projects. Whatever works better, we jump on the other guy's project and we make this happen. So it's basically what we did. Nibo started getting some pretty good traction. So she joined the company as a marketing person. And along the process, we met our CTO. So we are a team of 3 co-founders. Right now, basically.
And at this point, when you were only the 2 of you and your friend, you both dropped everything, all in, still kept the jobs?
We dropped everything.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really hard to, when you start something from scratch, there's so much inertia to stay in the same place. So if you want to make something really happen, really have to put like 150% of your energy, otherwise it doesn't happen. It's my personal impression.
You have to have the rope here, right?
Yeah,
to get the
and
energy.
it's really, really tough. Like if you it's a part-time job, for me it would have been impossible.
Okay, and then you found a CTO and started thinking about, at this point, what did you have?
So I basically started by drawing all the screens of the software myself. I still have the drawings in a notebook. I was looking at them this morning by coincidence. And I basically hired a really good friend who was a designer to make the screens look good. So I basically had the visuals, the screens in a beautiful PowerPoint presentation, basically. And at this point, I was already validating that the product was interesting with people. And I was looking for someone to make this become a software. It was my first challenge. Okay. And I started by hiring 2 people from Rio. And I spent some money, 3 months, and it didn't work at all. So, and I realized that after they were struggling, that they were developing really old technology. So I got really insecure with what was happening. I said, guys, let's not do this together. And I decided to study, programming languages for 1 whole week. So I started trying to understand what .NET is, what Python is, all this stuff. And for the first time in my life, I studied something for 1 week and I couldn't understand anything. It was like religion, guys who develop in .NET they think is amazing, guys who do on other things they think is amazing. But at some point, a friend introduced me to a CTO from Australia, a guy who was a CTO in a really large company in Australia. He told me something that was really what I needed to hear at the time. He said, listen, Gabriel, what you want to develop, you can develop in any language. The hard thing is finding someone you can trust that can deliver what you need, And at some point down the road, I was introduced to our current CTO, and he was a senior guy. He had his own software house, and he was leaving the operation of the software house because he wanted to focus in product, not on service. It's something very common on people who develop softwares. And he said, I really like the idea, I really like the solution. So to prove you that I'm different from the guys who are working with, I'm going to work on the first screen of Nibo, and it's going to be working today. So we had a meeting in the morning. At the end of the day, he sent me the link for the first page of Nibo, and it was already working. I could register new clients. So I said, man, this is the guy I was looking for. So we started working together. Okay. This was back in 2012, more or less. Okay.
And at the point, it's still no clients. You had only
no
the
clients
solution
at all.
on your hands.
We had PowerPoint presentations.
Okay.
And the challenge was to make this a software.
Okay.
So basically what
what people used to do, we Brazilians, we know the bureaucracy, we know how hard it is, all the paperwork and everything. So what people used to do back then, before your solution?
So people right now, most
kill themselves.
They're struggling, right? So a lot of people, they don't even handle their finances with anything. So our current estimate is that our biggest competitor is Excel. So 30-35% of people are handling their finances with Excel. Maybe 20-25 handle their finances with paper and pen. 20% of the guys do absolutely nothing. And a small fraction use some sort of software. Okay. And most of these softwares, they're still on-premise. They are desktop solutions. So there's basically a huge market to be addressed. Okay. And then you found the CTO, started developing the product. And how was that? I mean, your vision, do you think it was right? You had many iterations? The thing is, having worked with consulting, when I joined the company, when I created the company, I had a whole strategic tree of possibilities. I said, if this doesn't work, I'm going to do this. If this doesn't work, I'm going to do this. If this doesn't work, I'm going to do this. And I think the whole startup experience really started when I tried everything and nothing worked. It's when it's really started. I said, man, I'm putting my money here. All the hypotheses that I had are not gaining traction. So what the hell am I going to do? So it was a really, really tough year. We basically launched the solution at the end of 2012. We started getting some interesting traction in 2013. And my idea, I came from investment banking, from McKinsey. I said, man, it's going to be easy to raise money. So I was planning to raise money in the first quarter of the year, more or less, 2013. And I was going to run out of money completely by March, more or less, March, April. I was going to get married in June, and I still didn't know how I was going to pay for the marriage, just to give you an idea. In the meantime, my wife got pregnant. And just to give you an idea, we only raise money in January of the following year. I still don't know how the math
kids
worked.
are going to school already, and
I still don't know how the math worked, how I made through the process alive, but it was a really, really tough year. It was like, people helped, the fathers of my wife helped with the marriage, with the ceremony, all of that. But it was an important year to realize, for myself, to think about how important money is, and you start running out of money, you don't have a car anymore, and your friends are millionaires making a lot of money, but you're still the same person, So it was an important year for me to realize that, listen, doesn't matter how well you're doing, if you, by some chance, succeed and become very successful, don't forget that you are the same person inside, So when I look at someone in the streets, man, the guy is as important as a human being as I am. Doesn't matter what I do, what I end up doing. So it was an important year of learning, but a really, really tough one.
Yeah, that's a trap, right? Sometimes when you get a lot of money, you feel that money validates, and it's not that way.
No, there's a lot of chance involved,
chance and everything.
Right now, a lot of things that we are doing are working, but maybe if they hadn't worked, I would be the same person,
Yeah, sure.
And some guys are doing a lot more amazing things, and maybe they are assholes, They're not worth anything, so.
And talking about money, so how many rounds you've been through right now at Nibo?
So we basically raise money with 3 angel investors through 2013, because we are almost closing a seed round with 2 really good investors that are Redpoint Ventures and Valor Capital. But almost closing, we never really got to close, and I needed to raise money, so 3 friends wanted to get in.
FFF?
Yeah. They wanted to get in the process, so we raised money with 2 friends. Then we raised a seed round in January 2014. And May this year, we closed Series A.
Okay.
We raised basically 20 million reais a few months ago.
Yeah. And at that point, why do you think, what is your judgment? Why do you think you didn't close with Redpoint and at the first round? What happened? What was missing? Did you have any traction?
We already had clients. The thing is, raising money is a very different job depending on what's happening to your company, but also depending on the environment, in 2012, people are raising money like this, like with PowerPoints, people are raising $5 million. It was very easy. When we started, it was already hard because a lot of companies are not doing that well. The boom was already over, so we had to prove a lot more than people who came before us. So, but there are small details that make things happen. We got Valor were the first guy interested. They said, Gabriel, we want to do this. We want to raise $1 million at a time. He said, I'm in for half of that. So now we have to find another guy. And I was going out in, visiting investors, saying, listen, I already have one guy. Do you want to be the second guy? We close this. We kept talking to people. Yeah, I'm interested. Let's have a look. One fund held us for 6 months, saying, yeah, we want to invest, but wait a little bit. We want to invest, but wait a little bit. And then I say, listen, I cannot wait anymore. And one of these lucky things, I met Anderson Tees from Redpoint one day in the airport. I showed him the story. He liked it. I said, okay, let's close the round. So, and they decided, they said something very interesting. They said, listen, you want to raise $1 million? I think you should raise 2. Because it's going to be a tough year ahead. Maybe if you don't prove the things you want to prove, it's better that you have more money in the bank to make sure that you can learn and go through the process. And that made the whole difference for us. Okay. It's hard to say what you have to happen. Chance is a big part of the process, but
yeah, of course.
Yeah, but we, at the time, and I think it's still true today, at least in Brazil, to raise money to raise a seed round with a venture capital fund, you already need to have a product, some traction, some economics that you can show. Listen, the customer acquisition cost is X, and the lifetime value is Y, so it's why it makes sense.
Yeah, you're making it sound like it's only chance, and it's far from that, right?
Yeah.
Since the beginning, you knew what you wanted. We're focused.
Yeah, since the beginning, I'm very focused on making a business that works. I'm having worked in financial markets. I've seen people doing a lot of crazy things. And the fact that a lot of people are doing something doesn't validate the things. And when we started, a lot of companies from the same space were going after SMBs directly. And they were spending a lot of money on Google, on Facebook. And since the beginning, this is a channel that doesn't make sense to me. Because I think it's a channel that is not scalable, it's probably not profitable in the long term, and above all, it's not defensible. If other companies raise money, they're gonna bid money on Facebook, on Google, and Google's gonna be making a lot of money, and you won't, because the cost per click is gonna go up. So since the beginning, I don't wanna depend on Google and Facebook. So since the beginning, we've been developing a strategy to go to SMBs through accountants. And that's why it took us so long to figure out the channel, to figure out the product, to make this whole thing work. So I'm not interested in raising money because I want to raise money. I want to raise money if it makes sense, if the economics are right. So there is an expression that I use 3-4 times a day, is unit economics. I mentioned this several times a day with a lot of people, because
If it works here, it will work.
if it works for one client,
Yeah.
if it works for one accountant, if it works for one salesperson, man, let's raise money because this works for everybody,
It's just copy and paste.
Yeah, it's just,
million
it's just process. It's just replicating. And this is something that I think is probably my biggest learning. At the beginning, I thought that it was about developing a product and selling it. And I figured out that product market fit is a concept that is very, very important. Launching a product is not the same thing as having product market fit. And there is an
What do you
interesting...
mean by that?
Product market fit is when you have a product and people are willing to pay for that. And there is an interesting definition that says that you get to product market fit when an average salesperson can sell to an average client. Because what I saw was that we were yet to launch a product, and I was talking to clients and people wanted to buy. Gabriel, this is interesting, this is fantastic, I want to buy it. I say, man, we have it. Let's hire 5 salespeople. I had money to do that, and also in the bank, not me person, the company had. I said, let's hire 5 salespeople. And people started selling, they couldn't sell anything. They couldn't sell anything. They couldn't sell anything. And I started in the process of optimizing the selling process. Guys, you're not selling right. I have to train you. I have to improve the marketing material, the collateral material. Let's make this more appealing. And I ended up understanding that it wasn't a selling problem, it was a product problem. Because me, as the CEO, I could convince people of the vision. I could sell, the thing. As the founder, you can convince people easier than a salesperson, And the truth is, the product that I had at the time wasn't good enough, If it had been good enough, these salespeople would be able to sell it. But they couldn't. And I wasted probably 1.5 years trying to teach people how to sell something that wasn't good. And for me, this is the biggest mistakes that make startups go bankrupt.
And
They
how-
think they are ready to scale and to sell because they have a product, but the product's not good enough. So it's better to focus 100% of your energy on products, on engineering, on developers. And after you have a replicable process of selling, you invest in salespeople. Before you don't do that.
Makes a lot of sense. And how did you realize that your beloved son and your darling product was not that good, or it was not cutting it?
The thing is, the economics are the truth,
Yeah.
I can think whatever I want, but if one salesperson doesn't make enough commission for self to be happy, the guy's gonna quit,
Okay.
And I'm going to have to hire a new guy, train a new guy, who is not going to be happy because he's going to sell 500 reais a month. His salary is 2,000. It's not enough. He has to sell 3,000 reais a month for the whole economics to work.
Sure.
If he cannot sell 3,000 reais, it can be a marketing problem, it can be a sales problem, but in our case, it was a product problem.
Okay.
So we had to go back to the whiteboard and say, guys, what we have to do in the products for people to be willing to pay,
And how was this process? I mean, fair enough, okay. The economics are telling me the product is not working.
Yeah.
And how did you get to the specifics of why it's not working? How was this process of researching?
The thing is, you don't know why it's not working, It's, the only thing you have to face is the truth. It's not working. Is it a sales problem? We try to solve all the sales problems we had. Is it a marketing problem? We try to solve and create good leads from a content marketing strategy. Didn't work, so it's product. what are we going to do? We had no idea. And the truth is, it's really, really hard because no client is going to tell you, listen, this is what you have to do. So the ideas we had that changed our lives were like, one guy had a crazy idea. He said, maybe we should do this. And we end up not implementing his idea, but we end up implementing a different version that started working better. And at some point, I was doing a meeting like this with our clients in Nibo. We are based in downtown Rio because most accountants in Rio are in downtown Rio. So, and I was offering beer to guys and said, listen, I'm using this product of yours with a different approach. I'm doing this, this, and this. They said, man, this could be a product. So this is how those crazy ideas pop in, you know. I don't know, you have to be 100% committed to make the thing work. You have to have the whole team thinking about that 24 hours a day to have the chance to maybe get the idea that's going to change your life.
And also don't think that you know everything.
No, you definitely don't know, you know.
Yeah.
The thing is, what I see and what happened to me, I thought all the strategic possibilities that I mentioned in the beginning, they didn't work. So I was by myself in front of the problem, you know, having to figure out a way to make this happen. And it was about listening to clients, to comments, you know. The idea of having a strategy through accountants, it started because one client, really at the beginning, he said, Gabriel, listen, this is amazing. I can store my files here. Can you create a feature that is going to allow me to send these documents to my accountant? It was the first time that I heard that. I said, man, this is amazing. So this changed our life. The reason why we are doing what we're doing now is because this guy, 4 years ago, he said that, you know. But I was totally paranoid, thinking about new things, and what he said made a lot of sense. Okay. There is a sentence that is a bit annoying to me that says that product management is about judgment and insight. You know, you have to have the right insights at the right time, and you have to have judgment to say what's relevant, what's not. How can you teach these things? It's really hard, you know. So you have to try and make a mistake and try again. So it's really tough. For me, this is the toughest part, is getting to product market fit.
Yeah, I see. Guys, I think you're shy today. Don't you have any questions? Or bring more beer?
Actually, 2 questions. I'll start with the first one. So I'm from Germany, so I have no idea about like Brazilian like financial accounting, but I have a like economics, like business and international management background. So in Germany, I would say like most of the companies use some sort of SAP software for like the problem you're describing. So like what makes your your product so different from like your pretty much customizable SAP software?
The thing is, SAP is a player here in Brazil too, but they only support really large companies. We are really focused on the base of the pyramid, you know, people who are self-employed professionals, 3 employees, 5 employees, 10 employees. And every place is different, you know. In the States, most people use QuickBooks, you know, and they are taught at university to use QuickBooks, so it's amazing. In Brazil, I don't know why, actually I have a hypothesis why, but people don't use anything.
Yeah, like I'm surprised because like for me, the idea of having a financial accounting software is like not groundbreaking. Like
that's it.
I could like in Germany there are like tons like there like SAP obviously is like the biggest one, but like similar to like Brazil, probably only or mainly used by like huge companies. But there are a lot of like small like
This is the interesting thing is, you know, the idea of accounting software is like 40 years old, right? 50 years old. It's not new, but considering that it's something very old, why is it the case that in Brazil no one uses it? You know, this is the question that we try to answer. In my view, it's a combination of 2 things. The first one is a product thing. Because the Brazilian entrepreneur, the average guy, is not sophisticated. He's not willing to learn a complex solution. The guy is very simple-minded. He's not trained on business or anything like that. So there is a product issue in our view. And the second point is distribution. It's really, really hard to structure a distribution channel of a product that has a small ticket. Our product costs 69, 89 reais. You cannot pay people to visit companies if the subscription is 80 reais. The economics don't make sense. So the reason, and a lot of people try to do that, like TOTUS, SAP in the past, they try to structure a sales team that would go and knock on people's doors and say, listen, I have a solution, but the economics don't make sense. I think what we're trying to do is do a solution that is very simple and combining that with a distribution strategy. We go to an accountant and the guy has 100 clients. So I'm not going after one company at a time. I'm going after an accountant that has 100 clients. So the potential ticket is not 89 reais, it's 10,000 reais.
But the software is based with the company and not with the accountant, right?
The thing is, what we do is the company manages his finances using Nibo, and we integrate with more than 80 solutions that the accountant uses. So the accountant, instead of receiving papers and documents and typing that in his accounting software, when his client already uses Nibo, it integrates automatically. So there is a huge productivity gain for accountants. So part of the search for product market fit was trying to get to a product that the accountant would be really excited about. Because at the beginning, I would tap at the door of the accountant and say, listen, this is a solution for your client. Do you think he's going to like it? Yeah, he's going to like it. Are you going to distribute this to your client? He said, yeah, I'm going to do that. And I would go back to the office really happy saying, oh, we have a partner, an accountant. But the guy wouldn't do anything. It wasn't good enough for him. Yeah. So we had to develop things for him. Because if it's not good for him, he's not going to move a needle. He's not going to make things happen. So this is why it took us some time to figure out. But I agree with you. This problem should have been solved a lot of time ago, but it's not. So we are trying to.
Brazil, right?
Yeah, that's it. So this is the opportunity that we are going after. And this is actually interesting for us because if it was very simple, maybe an international player could come here and kill us. But since it's very specific, there is a bit of a protection. QuickBooks, is struggling in Brazil. We are, maybe more tropicalized than them.
Question. Well, basically, she said that I was thinking in two other products that I never used, but I heard that also with the same kind of client. This is the SAP Business one, and also the one that I heard about Market Up. That's free. Well, I don't know how you feel this product.
The things, different products. The one you mentioned is really bigger on premise. The guy has to pay an implementation fee. It's an expensive thing for bigger companies. You mentioned Market Up, but there are other guys. The focus of Market Up right now is really on retailers that sell products, So, but again, it's a competitive landscape. A lot of companies are going after the same opportunities, and all the companies have a freemium model. Most of these freemium guys have never been able to monetize that and turn that into a business. We have a different approach, and so far, it's been working for us.
I have a question because you mentioned that the account is a key person on the process.
Yes.
So since that the account itself has been changing a lot, if you can see, like you have some companies as Contabilize that's become like all the process easily for the person, and so how do you consider like you are not foresee that those companies can get more, getting more things to do, like they are doing exactly the same as incorporate your thing that you are doing. You are not
That's
aware
a very
about those
interesting
things.
question. So do you think Contabilize, even though they're not competitors, do you think they're a threat?
I think Contabilize is doing something that I really like. They are basically an accountant that is offering accounting service to companies. Theoretically, we can integrate with Contabilize, for example. We can be the solution that companies use and integrate with Contabilize.
Okay.
Because companies don't need only accounting and compliance, they also need to manage their finances, Issue boleto, have a look at cash flow, reports, all of that. So this is a possibility, but there's something that we believe in is, as I said before, SMB owners in Brazil, they need help. They don't need help only to do the accounting. They need help managing their business, And companies like Contabilize, they're a bit of a self-service accounting solution. So if you have a very simple PJ, you can upload your files and that works for you. But our reviews at SMBs need help. They need help with cash flow, they need help analyzing their finances, and I don't see a company doing this sort of high-touch relationship with clients, basically. So we want to help and support these accountants who, in our view, are the best professionals to help companies succeed, basically.
Okay.
Vou falar em português.
Okay?
São 3 perguntas, pode? Uma vocês estão trabalhando agora com o Conte, né? E aí perguntar uma coisa, por quê, né? Que eu achei bem interessante a plataforma deles. E a segunda terão muitas mudanças agora em 2018. Eu acredito que isso abra cada vez mais pequenas empresas de informatizar, né? O seu sistema. Não sei se vocês enxergam da mesma forma. E a terceira...
Como assim informatizar seu sistema? Mudança o quê? É social, você diz?
O simples e tudo mais. Tem muita coisa que está acontecendo dessa forma que eu estou lendo, né? E essa parte de tributações que tem que mandar para o contador e tudo mais. A terceira coisa é os contadores, a maior parte das vezes, eles não fazem assessoria. Você percebeu que no seu sistema eles promovem mais assessoria?
Assessoria financeira, você diz? Sim. Cara, primeiro que no Conte é uma ferramenta super legal. A gente conhece o pessoal da Fato Contabilidade há muito tempo. Fernanda da Fato, Luiz e tudo mais. E eles são clientes do Nibo há muito tempo, contribuem com ferramenta. Então, eles apresentaram o que se chamava Fato Dashboard pra gente, sei lá, 1 ano e meio atrás. Eu acho, super legal a ideia e sou mega fã deles, a gente conversa bastante. Então, fazer parceria com eles, a parceria que a gente tem com eles é basicamente uma parceria de conteúdo, porque, cara, eles têm uma visão muito legal de como o empresário contábil consegue colocar sua contabilidade em dia, e eu acho que isso tem valor. Então, a gente tenta se aproximar, que a gente faz com eles, com outros empresários contábeis que querem compartilhar boas práticas de gestão. Relacionado à informatização, cara, acho que é uma tendência. Infelizmente a legislação no Brasil muda muito e sempre que a legislação muda tem a oportunidade de vender solução para as pessoas que querem se adequar a essa realidade. Então essa tendência não é de hoje, sempre os PEDs estão evoluindo muito e avançando muito, então isso vai continuar acontecendo. E relacionado à assessoria financeira é uma coisa que a gente acredita muito e que a gente fala muito, que a gente entende que o contador ele não pode só fazer o serviço básico. Não, assim, tem muita gente que faz, a grande maioria só faz, mas já tem muitos empresários contábeis que estão se diferenciando, ganhando muito dinheiro, fazendo um serviço diferenciado. E vários deles, a gente entende que o Nibo é a melhor ferramenta para que eles façam isso, entendeu? Tanto para terceirizar o departamento financeiro de outras empresas, que nem tem contador que faz, quanto para prestar serviços de consultoria financeira e tudo mais.
Cool. Other questions?
I have questions about the product itself, like how is the team like nowadays structured to build the functionalities? Like you have like design developers, like how like inside the company, how it works, like when you need like to implement a new feature, like I don't know if it's like more from the CTO, but I think you
No,
as
don't
a
worry,
CEO,
don't worry.
you know that.
Yeah, for sure. So we, maybe 1 year ago we started discussing how we're going to scale the product team. Because we used to work in a way that didn't work. And we had a product team that was basically myself, a UX guy, and a designer that was doing visual. The UX guy was more focused on wireframes, this sort of thing. And we were basically thinking about what the product needed to have, how the product was going to look like. When we close this first part of the process, we would handle this to development, to engineering. And people would basically develop what we had decided. But this didn't work. Because the engineers hadn't participated in the discovery process, it was really hard to scale. So I basically did the trip to the Valley, to Silicon Valley, to learn how people scaled product teams. And we basically decided to change everything. Right now we work in squads, pretty much like Spotify does. There is a really interesting video on the Spotify culture. So we basically have structured 2 product teams. They have a product manager, they have UX, and they have developers. And this team is autonomous in the way that they can do whatever they need to do throughout the software that we have to reach a business goal. So the way we grow the product team but keep people aligned with the strategy is by defining the OKRs of the product. So we basically say, listen, you have a business objective, which is, I don't know, reduce churn, and you guys are going to think about a way to make this happen. Doesn't matter if it's on the website, if it's in the solution, whatever it is, they can think about the ideas and make this happen. You guys here, on the other hand, you have to develop a product that has a ticket of 500 reais a month, because we need to sell these products for the revenue to reach our objective. So this team is also autonomous, just like this one, and they think about the roadmap, what they need to do, and so on.
How big is the company now?
Right now we are a team of 55 people, and we probably have 14 people in product engineering, more or less.
Okay.
Did I answer your question regarding product?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I heard this squads. Like, I went to Contadores to interview as a UX designer. I saw that the
Squad is
were
structured, yeah. It's a very interesting structure, because something that I used to struggle in the past was, the product view was a lot in my mind, in my head. And I wasn't doing a good job of telling people the direction and the strategy. So people would give suggestions that were going pretty much everywhere. So we have to paint the interface in pink, or we have to do something crazy. And I would say a lot of no's. And people would get frustrated. They'll say, "Oh man, I'm giving a lot of ideas. This guy is crazy. He doesn't want to implement anything that I do." So when we create squads and you give people a direction, a business direction, they are free to suggest things that make more sense, and that resonate better with the strategy of the company. So, there are a lot of things that we still have to adjust, like, is it Scrum, is it a Kanban way of managing the process, and so on. The squads are autonomous to pick their methodology as well, but it's something that has been working well for us.
I mean, if you get to the business goal, everyone is happy.
Yeah, that's it.
And before going to your question, just what is your stack? What your platform is developed using which technologies?
So I'm not a technology guy,
Yeah,
but I can share with you the little that I know.
Yeah.
I was one day with a meeting with the CEO of one of the largest software companies in Brazil. And he started by asking, in which language do you guys develop? I say, .NET. And where do you host your application? I said, Azure. I say, now you have to stop asking questions, because everything that I knew, I already told you. So we basically develop in .NET, basically, and we host that in Azure, Microsoft. We use other stuff. Maybe I can mention a couple of them, but not all of them. But on the product side, we use Intercom, basically to communicate with clients, make announcements, this sort of thing. We use Wupra to manage people's actions and to try to analyze cohorts and engagements. What else? On the marketing side, we use HubSpot to automatize marketing. We use a lot of things. We use Pipefy on customer success to make sure that people follow the process, and we offer an implementation process that is homogeneous for all the clients. I think those would,
the onboarding
process, yeah. I think those would be the most important solutions that we use.
Okay. What were the main arguments you hear that were deal break during your more than 1 year fundraising
process? I think what changed, what attracted our investors was our vision that we have to distribute through accountants.
No, but what were the deal breaks? Like why they didn't invest before?
The guys who didn't?
From their side, you mean?
Yes, you expected to raise
it
at the beginning of 2013, and you actually raised at
the thing is, it's really hard to know the truth, I probably, I was...
What you hear?
people say, it's a bit early for us. Maybe we have to prove a bit more the concepts. We want to see, we really like you, but we want to see more traction.
It's not you, it's us.
It's not you, it's us. When you break up with someone, it's the same story, but...
They're Brazilians.
Huh?
They were like Brazilians.
Yeah.
Telling the real truth.
Yeah.
On face.
Do comment about the guys. We really like the strategy, we like the team, but it's a bit early for us.
What do you think?
Why
it took?
Why it took so long?
More than you, yeah. So
I think there was a bit of a the climate for raising money wasn't very easy at the time. But it's always my fault. So we were probably not doing a really good job of either getting more traction or selling better what we're doing. If the company was exploding, growing like crazy, people would be throwing money at us. This is the truth.
probably you wouldn't need to.
We wouldn't need money, or we would need money to grow even faster, but I never blame the investors for not investing in us. It's always our fault of not showing what they wanted to see.
And how many times did you spend before winning the first meal?
What is that?
How long did it take?
To make money?
For the first,
Yes,
for the first round.
since the idea
The first funding.
start.
For the first funding?
Yes. No, not the funding. To make the first real in revenue.
Real in revenue?
Yes, from the idea. to
So the idea was a bit old,
the
so
real,
we basically started working on the project probably half of 2012. We launched the solution November, December, and we started charging for it in February, something like that. And we got the first, 15 clients.
February.
15, yeah, 1-5.
The idea was in,
Huh?
when
The idea was
when
probably
you start
6
to
months
be
before
committed.
starting.
6 months?
Yeah, before starting working on the project, really. But 15 clients paying 50 reais a month is not really a lot of money, So the first real is very different from real money. I at the time I talked to a friend who was running a startup in São Paulo, and he said something that was really interesting. He said, Gabriel, the hard thing about running a startup is that the beginning is really, really tough. And you never really know when the beginning is going to be over, And he shared something that was true for us too. He said, he started the company with two friends from either consulting or investment banking. He said, after the first year of operation, they sum up revenue of the company, and the whole revenue of the company was less than 50% of the salary of one of the guys. Of 1 month salary. So it was true for us, If you sum all the revenue that we had in first year, it was probably half of the salary that I had before joining the company. So it's really, really tough. The beginning is really, really tough. It's what people call in the SaaS business, the slow ramp of death. SaaS is good because it's recurring, but on the other hand, making money out of small subscriptions is really, really hard. So either you grow fast or you die slow. You have to find a way to grow. It's really important. And again, to grow fast, the most important thing for me is to have a great product. It's not about trying to sell something that is not good yet. So focus your energy on the product first. Before people are trying to throw money at you to buy the product, don't have people selling it, and then you have salespeople that are going to help you grow faster.
Okay, questions? More questions? Yes.
What's your vision for the years to come? Like, do you plan on expanding to larger companies or staying focused on SMB?
We are 100% committed to small companies. Yeah. What we're doing now is working. So we have a team of 55. We are probably going to be around 100 by the end of the year. And right now, we have some product challenges for sure. But if we do more of the same, we should be fine. So this is another thing that I bump into a lot. People are doing something that works, but they want to be very creative and do new stuff. No. It's about doing more of the same. So 80% of the energy now is about doing more of the same. It's already an organizational challenge. To go from 30 that we were like in May, now we are 55. We're going to be 100. It's already challenging. And making sure that you scale the operation and keep the productivity is really hard. So we want to keep doing that. On the other hand, we are testing new product things and coming up with new ideas that are exciting for us.
Is your co-founders already 100% committed like you?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, since we raised money, they were all 100% committed like us, like me.
Since the beginning?
Yeah.
Are you
At the-
assuming?
At the beginning, no. At the beginning, they were part-time because they had to survive to make sure they...
Okay.
I was the only crazy one who was like 100% doing that without making any money, but yeah, when we raised money, they jumped on board and we started pedaling together.
Okay. And you're confident that it's a very bem delicado. It's a very question.
Tricky.
Tricky. It's a very tricky question. If you don't want to answer, it's okay. Are you confident with your first equity split distribution between them? Because you were 100% committed at the very beginning. I don't know what's the...
Yeah.
You're assuming he was only committed 100%. It was a lot more.
Yes. Probably you should have more, but I don't know. Maybe some entrepreneurs start like communists or socialists.
No, but
they
considering that I was 100% committed and I was investing more money,
okay.
I have more equity than them, you know. There is a very interesting spreadsheet, I don't know if you have heard about it, it's called Founders Calculation, Founders something. You basically say how many founders are starting the company, what everybody does, and it basically suggests a cap table. It's very interesting. You can try that. I will remember the name and send you guys, but I'm the CEO, I'm 100% committed, I have a CTO who's part-time committed, and they have like 20 questions, and at the end they suggest a split of shares. But one thing that is very important in my view is making sure that founders go through vesting to make sure that they have
Put them on vesting terms?
the marketing person no, the CTO yes.
So after, was this required by the funding, by the
It
after
was,
raising money?
yeah, after we closed the seed round, all of us got into vesting, even myself. This was a little bit of a deal breaker because the VC was saying, listen, you have to go through vesting, which was a bit disturbing for me because in my mind, if the guy kicked me out of the company,
Can I answer how many years?
standard, like 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah. So 1 year cliff and 3 additional years to vest the whole thing. So it was a bit disturbing because in my mind, if the guy wanted to fire me on the first day after the investment, I would go away of the company without any shares. And that was,
Really?
yeah,
Without shares?
no, 0 shares, yeah. Vesting, you know?
No, but there's no ground, there's no a zero like a...
Yeah, the thing is, we had already been working for 1 year and a half. I had already invested, I don't know how many thousand reais in the company. And when we received our seed round, I went through vesting for all my shares. Yeah. The company already had revenues.
I never heard this. I heard to like half of her shares or...
No, but this in seed
1/3 of
rounds
her
this
shares,
is very
but-
common. But the thing is, the guy is investing $2 million on your thing, right?
But you already invested and you already have...
Yeah, I had invested 200,000 reais, something like that. And, you know, the guy said, listen, is your company really worth, you know, the valuation that I'm paying for it now? Let's be honest, it's not, right? The guy is investing $2 million. They usually get, I don't know, 20% of the company. So is your company that is making 5,000 reais a month worth $8 million?
But they were free to fire or there were rules, clear rules or clear
The board,
triggers
the
to
thing
do
is,
this?
yeah, there is a board, and the board can fire me. But the board is made of myself, of my co-founder, of 5 people. You know, so if I was to be fired, the 2 investors would have to convince an independent board member to fire me. But the thing is, and it's where I got the confidence from, the VC said, listen, do you think I want to fire you? If I wanted to fire you, I wouldn't be investing in you in the first place. But one thing that I did, and I'm a big fan of our investors now, Right Point, Valor, and Vostok, They said, listen, please go talk to the companies we invest in and ask them what they think about working with us. And that's where I got the confidence from. And everybody said, listen, these guys are amazing. They will never do something against the entrepreneur if it's not something that makes sense for the business. And throughout the negotiation process, what I realized is that everything that they wanted to include in the contracts, maybe it was not good for me as a founder, but it was really good for the company. So they were always thinking about what was good for a long time, the longevity of the company. So this is the sort of thing you should have to be looking for, you know. If I'm also looking for what's best for the company, you know.
Did you try to be bold?
What is that?
Did you try to be bold with them or no?
Yeah, regarding the vest, I said, listen, this doesn't make sense to me. And they said, if it doesn't make sense to you, there's no deal. I said, okay, so now it makes sense to me. So I need money, let's make this happen, okay? Yeah. But no, it's the sort of thing that I said, I had to talk to other investors. I said, listen, I wasn't confident with that either. But from working with these guys, I'm 100% sure that they're going to be fair. And they wouldn't be investing in you if they wanted to kick you out of the door on the first day. And if you really are not a good CEO, maybe you should be kicked out at some point, right? So they're investing a lot of money. They want to make sure that you're not going crazy. I've seen people raise money and the CEO goes crazy on the first week. And the guy have to invest and buy the CEO again. Because the guy was not going through investing, you know, so the guy invested 1 million, the CEO said, no, I don't want to run the company anymore. Fuck, now I have to invest more 1 million to buy the guy back to... This is not fair, right? So I think those are the things that if you pick the right VCs, you have to gain the confidence that you have the right guys on your corner helping you. It's what we try to do.
Yeah, and this, what you said, is really important. You know, the due diligence must go on two ways, right?
Yeah, for sure.
As an entrepreneur, since you feel that you're the weaker side, and then some entrepreneurs, they don't understand how important it is to find the right investors.
No, this is critical. I know, entrepreneurs who have the wrong investors, and their life is a nightmare.
It's a course.
Yeah, they have to supply a sort of information that the guy keep asking, and they have the impression that they work for the board. For me, it's the opposite. I feel that the board works for me, you know. I can call Anderson, who has become a great friend, but the guy runs the most important VC in Brazil, in my opinion. And I say, Anderson, I need your help. Can you help me finding an amazing guy who has done this somewhere on earth, you know? The guy who's amazing, structuring a marketplace. Hey, Gabriel, I'm going to look for that for you.
What is the VC?
Huh?
What is the VC?
A VC is a venture capital fund.
No, what is the VC?
Red Point, eVentures. So when I go to a board meeting, I'm basically sharing with these guys my problems. Say, listen, I'm worried about this. This is working really well. How can you guys help me on this? So they're working for me. It's not the other way around, you know. It's not that I have a boss saying, listen, Gabriel, you should have done better, you know. You have to work more. Man, I put all my money on this stuff. I don't sleep because of this stuff. I have a lot of white hair because of this stuff. If there's someone, on my foot, being a pain in the ass, I'm gonna say, man, come on. If I wanted a boss, I'll be working with a boss at McKinsey or in the investment bank. I don't want a boss. I want to run the whole thing. So these people understand that. So when you go through the due diligence, it's important that you know the guy, you know. Our current investor, our most recent investor is a company from Europe. It's a VC from Europe that invests in fintechs in emerging markets. You know, the guy came to Brazil, he spent 1 week here. I had beers with the guy. I went cycling with him. We went up to the Christ. I said, man, I want to work with this guy. So it was a two-way thing, you know. He wants to work with me. I want to work with him. That's what we look for, you know. If the guy's a pain in the ass, if the guy's a nightmare, come on, don't do that. It's not worth, you know.
And how is it hard to handle all the ideas and all the insights and all the doors they open for you? Because they have a lot of connections, a lot of ideas. They saw a lot of business like you in other countries, so they probably have a lot of material for you, but you probably don't have the throughput.
But the thing is, you have to be the one managing the relationship, you know. You have to be the one defining the agenda. Guys, I need help with...
You need to be the one.
I have, as the CEO, you know. I'm the chairman of the board. I say, guys, I need help with this. Who can help me with this? If the guy say, no, I want to introduce you to someone in China who is doing, no, I don't want. Thank you very much. Some guys, sometimes these guys want to introduce you to people. If it's interesting, okay, you talk to them. If it's not, you don't, you know? So you have to, your investors have to understand that they have to help you. And you have to be the one guiding.
And it's okay to deny a lot of this.
Yeah, so, you know, it's a two-way thing. If an investor wants me to talk to a potential entrepreneur he wants to invest in, no, because the guy wants to get to know the fund, like I did, my due diligence is best, I'm gonna, you know, spend some time with the guy. Listen, this investor is good on this side, maybe he's not going to help you so much on this. It's something that I'm willing to do because I want to help them be a more successful VC. But if investors start wasting your time, you shouldn't be wasting your time, right? You're the CEO of the company, you're the investor a lot of money, so you have to be as productive, as strategic as possible. So if people start wasting your time, say, listen, man, I don't think this is a good idea to be spending time on this. What do you think? He's going to say, yeah, I agree with you. You're right, sorry. Unless he thinks the focus should be something else. And then it's a discussion, you know. I think you should be focusing on that. Really, let's talk about that. But you shouldn't be wasting your time on something that is not a priority for the company.
Do you already start spending time for the next round?
Not yet. No, we just closed a round in May. May now, like a couple of months ago. And we have money for 2 years. So it's all about focusing on delivering, on increasing the operation, increasing revenues.
And when it's the time to start to think about it?
People say that you have always to be... Yeah, people say that you have always be fundraising, which I understand as you have always to keep a good relationship with VCs. So this week I did a call with a very interesting VC from the Valley. You keep talking to people, you know, but you are not actively looking for money if you don't need. At least it's the way I see it. But if you are running out of money 1 year down the road, I think it's the time now to start talking. Yeah. We started fundraising. It was really hard to fundraise last year because there was the impeachment of Dilma, like the political scene was like downhill all the way. And we said maybe we are not going to fundraise. We are not going to make it, so we have to get to break even. So the earlier you start, the more alternatives you have, right? So probably half of last year we said, man, there are big chances we're not going to raise money, so we need to get to break even. So we had to fire a few people in the company, and everybody who stayed started pedaling really hard to make money and to get to break even. And this is basically what happened this year. We got to break even, and then people wanted to invest in us, you know. So if you wait until very late, you don't have this chance, you might go bankrupt, you know. So you cannot waste losing everything you have built. The number one objective of the CEO is to make sure the company continues, right? So you cannot put the company at risk. It's important.
You raise money to grow.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Any other questions? I think we're running out of time. I need to go to the little room back there. We have fridge. We have beer in the fridge. So I'd like to thank you. It was really cool. I know we could stay all night long talking.
Yeah.
It was really interesting.
I'm gonna be around here if you guys wanna talk about anything.
So thanks again. It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure.
Nice
Thank
chat.
you very much.
Thank you.
Obrigado.
Valeu.